just taken us back to history when Kenya Bus was there and Nairobi had a working transport system that there was. That today, if we want a system that works, we already have examples. We have the blueprint that is there. There's a time we were given a story here on how you'd want to move from Buruburu to the CBD at 8 a.m. The bus would be there and there would be a board telling you when the bus would be there. If we are to fix the transport system in Nairobi, for example, we can't do it. But is there the political goodwill to change that?
There is no political goodwill. And secondly, we don't need to go that way on your first proposal of the proximity between Buruburu and Nairobi and the time taken. We can tunnel underground. We can chamber the underground like we've done in London. London is a very small ground, but everything functions. We can introduce the metropolitan systems in Nairobi, have the underground and the overland buses that can ease congestion. We can introduce the train system if only we have proper planning. But the issue of matatus and the menace that comes with, the issue of motorbikes or borders and the menace that comes with, and the kind of crowd that comes with it, will not make that thing go well unless it's properly regulated. And I believe that Michuki, wherever he is, he's actually crying because he left us with a very good transportation system, common sense, and some kind of reasonableness in what was going on at that particular time. But look at today. Everybody for himself. You'll find that the Minister for Transport, for example, and I'm not saying the current, may be having a pecuniary interest in the ownership of transportation system. The police, most of them own these matatus, so it's chaotic. But an oil crisis, of course, that's an international issue. But we have to regulate and come out and see what we can do, if at all we can do it, through proper planning, having our own engineers doing the roads. Like, look at the roads that the Chinese have built for us. If you look at the intersections, they're just an accident war zones. We can do these things properly, or we can get our military, our defense system. When they came to build Uhuru Park, look at what they did. Kenya Army, what battalion is that? Engineering battalion? Can be given responsibility to come up and design our roads and build them properly, other than having what we are having today. But the main issue, as you said before, is oil crisis, and we should look at what to do.
The countries of the world are facing the same thing at the moment, and that I don't believe that there's a country who relies on fuel in the same nature that Kenya does is not having a difficult experience either with getting the commodity or keeping the supplies constant with the current things that are happening. How they're able to deal with it may not result in high prices then being transferred to the people of the country. They may deal with it somehow else. And are we talking about decisive action here, where they say, this is how we choose to buffer the situation? This is how we decide that we are going to make it easier for people to survive. Is Kenya different, or is any country which chooses to raise the prices to these unbearable levels doing it differently? And what I'm really at the place whereby leadership must be keen as to what is going to be done about what is a crisis situation that doesn't create a further crisis in the existence of its people.
Actually, you have dealt seriously on the issue of leadership. Leadership. And here we have a crisis. And the way to manage this crisis. Obviously, if you look into the so-called leadership that we have here, starting from the Kenyatta family, the Odinga family, the Moi family, and the Ruto family, you find out that they have interest in oil. The Uhuru owns the company that I'm not going to mention. The Railas have a stake in oil industry. The Rutos have a stake in oil industry. So is Moi. And they own the main oil companies. And imagine if they have pecuniary interest in their own companies, how do you expect them to to come up with the legislation which is not tainted, because at the same time they have the majority of members of parliament who can pass and lobby for oil prices, and they control the system. That's where the problem is. But on this particular one, it is a global crisis which I cannot pin on them.
Yeah. Other jurisdictions have decided to look at it differently, and I'm going to give an example of what Ethiopia is doing. They started by